started, could you guys give us a rundown of what Sega exactly is for those of our listeners who might not be familiar with you guys? I know you kind of did a brief introduction, but would love to hear more.
Yeah, of course. Really excited to share with everyone more about Sega. In a nutshell, we're a decentralized exotic derivatives protocol. Specifically, we're building exotic options products for retail investors that generate superior yield and also offer built-in protection against market downturns. This is a capability that we believe will enable the next evolution in DeFi and in some of the derivative capabilities in the ecosystem.
Absolutely epic. So what are exotic derivatives exactly, and how are they different from other existing products in the market?
Yeah, so I can take over that question maybe. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, awesome. So basically, what currently exists in the DeFi ecosystem is something called vanilla derivatives. And it's essentially like options where it's a contract to buy or sell a certain asset at a certain time at a certain price. And when we have exotic derivatives, you actually add more conditions on top of that. So an example of an exotic derivative is barrier options. So you have a barrier on the contract, which means if during the time of the trade, if the underlying price of an asset surpasses a certain price, things could happen to the contract. So whether the contract actually realizes or whether the contract actually disappears, those are what barriers are. And then we also have things like baskets or correlation options. So instead of just having one underlying of an option like Ethereum, we could add multiple underlyings like Ethereum, Solana, and Avalanche tokens. And so by being able to track multiple underlyings at the same time, selling these basket options actually generate a higher yield. And by adding barriers, we can create certain conditions that makes the structure safer to invest in. So we're trying to create structures that are higher yielding, but also has safety features.
That's super cool. With some of the barriers, is it like if any of the underlyings within the basket end up kind of like knocking in or knocking out, or how does that exactly work?
Yeah, so we do have a knock-in barrier on the downside and a knockout barrier on the upside. So what that means is if the market, is like trailing down in a lot of the vanilla products, you could be losing money after the market moves like 10%. But for us, the yield actually stays until the market tanks like over like 50 or 60%. So the chances of that happening is quite low, but that is on the downside. And on the upside, we have a knockout barrier, which means if the market rallies upwards, the entire contract could disappear. And as an investor, you get all of the principal that you've staked up until that point back. And in Sega's products, we actually automatically reinvest that into a new contract. So you get your principal and all the coupons that you've accumulated until that point. And then that total amount gets reinvested, which means if you knock out, you make compounding returns. And so it's a win-win situation for both the users and like the returns.
Nice. That sounds really compelling. And in terms of some of these like cycles, I guess for these vaults, we've typically seen like weekly ones. Are your ones like more dynamic in terms of they only, I guess, like happen when you have one of these knock-in, knock-out events?
So our structures are going to be 30 days. We're also toying with some 7 days and 30 days. Those are 7 days and like 1 weeks. But those are for some different underlyings. And our general Genesis vaults, which is what we're going to call the first ones that will be releasing, they will mainly be 30-day structures.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Lovely. So I'd like to take a minute and get into the difference between exotic options and vanilla options. I know you kind of just went into some of the different varieties of exotic options, but how are they different and how would one best utilize exotic options?
Yeah, so the naming of exotic options, I think, often confuses people because, the term exotic, I think, makes it sound like something that is really hard to understand. But in fact, the value of exotic options is you can actually make things more flexible. And so what's really, really great about exotic options, versus vanilla options, it just allows you to express any view in the market that you want to express. So if you think things are going up or down, obviously you can invest in that. You can invest in things, you can invest in your viewpoints, going sideways. You can really leverage on a position, or you can focus really on safety as well. And so, really, the value of exotic options, you can just structure literally anything in any way possible. And that's the beauty of it.
So epic.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, go ahead, Tristan.
No, it's super cool. It feels like, yeah, you're taking kind of the vanilla derivatives that we're used to kind of to the next level with like a lot of different factors out there. I had a question, given that this is like, feels like a very customized, like personalized payoff. Are you guys potentially after your first few Genesis vaults moving towards something that's more permissionless where people can essentially like fully customize their payoff structure and, basically have the exposure that they would want? Or, are you going for more of a permissioned approach where you guys have a bunch of products in mind that you're going to put out to the market?
Yeah, great question. So because the availability of exotic options, like what you can show in the market is just so flexible and there's so many choices, we are starting off with a exotic structure called fixed coupon notes that are very popular in the traditional markets. And these are structured notes that are often issued towards high net worth individuals at a private bank. And it's a very nice product because it's very safe, but it yields like a very, very good return. And eventually, we are looking to go into more different types of exotic options. So an example is, variance swaps, which are really popular with hedge funds in traditional finance. And these variance swaps are like fairly high risk, but also high return. Um, there are also other types of more safer exotic options where you set the barriers like really, really low, or you only accumulate risk as time passes. There's literally so many things you can do, and we're really, really excited about expanding our offerings.
That's super cool, and it definitely feels like a whole new product space. I know you mentioned like high net worth individuals for some of these structured note products. What's your kind of like target user? Is it just like retail DeFi? Are you going towards like these kind of people who want wealth management products, like, slightly higher net worth people like whales and that kind of stuff? Like, yeah, who are you kind of thinking in terms of their end user?
Yeah, I can take that one. So I think initially our target user is the retail investor. Specifically, we want to make a product that's accessible to all users, regardless of their background or level of prior knowledge about options. And so to that extent, we want to make the user-facing aspects of Sega really easy for anyone in the market to be able to understand and to participate in. I think down the road, as we continue to grow the protocol, there's a lot of opportunities to expand our user segments into some of the other categories I think you mentioned, like institutions, DAOs, and even other protocols who might want to leverage some of the exotic options capabilities and products that we're bringing to the market.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I think we've had similar realization or going down a similar path where some of these derivatives products are, I think, like pretty hard to like natively understand, and you guys are taking it to the next level. I'm sure like a variance swap is like not super comprehensible for like, you know, the average user out there who's used to yield farming. But I think if you package that into like a nice kind of product or like a vault or something other that makes it very easy for people to get exposure, and you kind of do that in a super transparent way with like a nice user interface, like that's a great way to go where anyone can tap into these like really cool and sophisticated products.
Yeah, definitely. Our goal is to, obviously expand the DeFi ecosystem. So we're, really believing in like making these products that were previously not accessible to retail investors into something that is easy to take apart in and to digest and to actually make the kind of returns that institutional investors have been making for decades.
Yeah, that's awesome. And they've at least got a smart team behind it doing some of the science on the payoffs. So that's great to see.
Yeah, you guys really have an absolutely epic team. So I'm curious, what problems are exotic derivatives solving?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think so. We can think about some of the problems that we're solving for the different end users of our exotic options products. For the retail user, we have four main problems that we're solving for them. First, the problem that we're seeing yield decline across the market. Second, that there's a lack of opportunities to diversify one's financial portfolio in DeFi today, outside of some of the basic vanilla products out there. The third problem is that I think this space is really hard for new users and users who don't have prior financial knowledge or experience. And then the fourth problem is that users want to earn yield, but not get rugged and not have to face significant losses of their invested capital. And so I think these are four of the main problems that we're solving for users today. So in terms of the yield side, through the exotic options that we're building with Cega, we're able to deliver 2 to 3 times higher yield than other types of vanilla products on the market. So we're able to successfully deliver high yielding products to the retail investor. In terms of product portfolio diversification, in TradFi, typically with investors who are able to access some of these premium products through their bankers, they're able to have tons of catalogs of options when it comes to diversifying the portfolio, and it's common for them to invest across equities, bonds, and other types of products like fixed coupon notes, which are an example of an exotic option. So by launching our very first Cega Vault, we'll be able to give investors more opportunities to diversify their portfolio. Third, in terms of ease of use for new users, we're going to build a product that's really easy for anyone to digest. And then finally, in terms of users who are scared of getting rugged and losing their invested capital, one of the really great advantages of the first product that we're launching, the fixed coupon note, is that it offers built-in downside protection for users. So they don't have to actually worry about losing their principal unless the market tanks severely. And that's, I think, a huge advantage. The safety element is a huge advantage for users today compared to some of the other investment opportunities that they might be looking at.
That's pretty awesome, and 2 to 3 times the yield of vanilla products is definitely pretty nuts. In terms of the pricing there, is it you guys doing that, or is that something that you kind of rely on some of your market makers for? Because obviously pricing exotic derivatives is probably not the easiest thing in the world.
So I can take over that portion. It's actually been a journey in itself to really make the first exotic derivative market in crypto. It's been super interesting. So usually in like vanilla derivatives, because the pricing is easier, you would ask the market makers for a price, and as a protocol, you don't really have to understand the options yourself. But in our case, we've essentially had to teach some of the market makers that want to get into this space, like the different types of positions associated with our exotic structures, how to hedge, and also partially like how to price. And so as Sega, we are not only building the smart contract of the exotic derivative positions and also the front end wrapper that allows retail investors to invest their crypto into these types of token contracts. We've also built a pricer and a very light risk management tool for market makers who wants to take on these counterparty positions. And so we've essentially been doing everything from building tools for market makers to building the smart contracts to building a front end UI for people to participate in the product.
That's crazy. So you're actually like building so much more than just like the base protocol, which makes a ton of sense because you guys are like one of the first exotic projects out there. I feel like we had to go through some similar pain as well. Like, not everyone was like quoting options or using Solana, even just like a couple of months ago. So it was like a huge bunch of hurdles, I think, to convince market makers and other market participants to like get in there and kind of get them upskilled and comfortable with trading this product. So super cool to see.
Yeah, I was also going to say that, the appetite from market maker side has been a lot higher than I had originally imagined. So I was ready to kind of create like a cap on the supply for our first products. But when I spoke to a lot of market makers, they were very happy to quote like 3-digit millions of like these products. And I think that's because the positions that we've structured are very attractive on the market maker side as well. So there's a different appetite, I think, for retail investors and market makers, where retail investors, they want to make a passive yield and they want to make a very high passive yield. But for market makers, they already have such a long oriented book, which means, they buy the actual tokens in their books. And so what they actually want is a form of protection for their portfolios. And a form of protection often comes in the shape of a put. And a put option is basically the type of option that allows you to sell underlyings at a certain price. And so if the market tanks, that protects the portfolio from losing its value. And the issue in DeFi right now is that vanilla put options are very expensive. And so market makers are not able to insure their books as much as they want. And so we are selling a cheaper put for these market makers per underlying. And so they actually want to buy these positions, which creates a very good pricing for our end users to make yields on.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's like one of the challenges of existing vanilla vaults is like everything is fully collateralized at the moment. So yeah, I think it's like not super capital efficient for kind of retail sellers. And even then for like market makers, like this does sound like a pretty good side of the deal for them. Do you reckon you'll be able to spin up to 3-digit millions in terms of kind of natural, kind of the other side of the equation?
I think so. I think that with kind of the right amount of demand, there's definitely supply. And I think that, we want to be responsible with how we manage the vault and we want to make sure that it grows in a responsible way. But I definitely see that we can get there.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Super exciting. And yeah, you guys came at the right time because if you would have, I think, looked at this space like pre-breakpoint, I would say like there was very few market makers out there who were like willing to quote. And like, yeah, I think the demand for a lot of these structured products was just like not quite there yet, but it's just really exploded over the last couple of months. So, no small part due to like projects like yourselves. So super cool to see.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Tristan. I remember when I met you at Breakpoint, I was already thinking of this idea, and I had just, written the white paper. And I remember we talked about this demand and supply scenario like quite a bit. And yeah, like I'm really glad that, there's both demand and supply for this market.
Yeah, that's right. It's come a long way since then, so pretty cool to see.
Yes, it definitely has come a long ways. Breakpoint feels like years ago, even though it was like 10 months ago. Not even. Probably like 9. I have no idea what is time in crypto.
Breakpoint was like 5 months ago or like
No
less.
way. No way. Don't believe it. Well, I just want to say congrats on your recent seed raise of $4.3 million. That is absolutely epic. It seems like you guys have many amazing things coming down, but I'm curious what's coming next on your roadmap and where are you guys currently on your roadmap?
Thank you. Yeah, I can take this. So currently we're heads down building. Super excited for our DevNet launch coming soon. Vic and I have been hanging in the Solana office in SF, so hit us up if you're in town. But excited for our first product, which is going to be a vault for fixed coupon notes with knock-in and knockout barriers. And then I think after that, we'll just kind of be adding, more underlyings, different types of structured products, get some feedback from users and see how we can integrate their suggestions into future vault products.
That's really exciting. I'm stoked for you guys. Do you have a specific launch date, or do you guys have like a time you're shooting for it? I think that's always like the most exciting question. Like when launch, when DevNet, when mainnet,
When DevNet.
when DevNet, but when mainnet, DevNet first.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. We're targeting DevNet for end of the month, and then mainnet 1 month after that. So you guys better come ready with your USDC when these vaults open up. No, it's really exciting. I mean, yeah, we're like, as Phil mentioned, we're just heads down, kind of getting everything built and done and tested because we want to just create the best experience for our users. So yeah, you guys can look forward to obviously the amazing products that we're creating from just like a financials perspective, like bringing FCNs to the market, but also we're doing our best to just create a really great product experience as well. This means, like we want Sega to be a place where beginner DeFi investors feel like that they're safe depositing money with us, but also experienced investors can really get performance details and all the kind of bells and whistles that they're used to from the experience as well. So very excited to bring this to the market for you guys.
Nice. So 1 week out from DevNet, about a month and a bit out from mainnet. That's like super soon. So very excited to get hands-on with that. And hopefully some of that Vault boilerplate code that I wrote over Christmas helped you guys kind of get off the ground there.
Oh yeah, absolute lifesaver. Thanks so much, Tristan. You guys
No
are
worries.
amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say like huge shout out to the Zeta team because we definitely have been getting a lot of help on like the code from you guys, and I think from like the day we met at Breakpoint till now, we definitely feel like there was like a lot of great partnership between the two teams, and after launch, like I can't wait to talk more about how we can do like more projects together and to compose on top of each other.
Yeah, likewise. Really excited for, I think, like the scope of opportunities kind of going forwards. Obviously, derivatives are super composable, so I think there's going to be lots of interesting things to work on together. I'm super excited. And on that note, are you guys still hiring, like getting more engineers on the team? How's that going?
Yes. If it wasn't obvious from the name of our Twitter profile, we are hiring Solana devs. So yeah, like quick plug for any engineers out in the audience. We're looking for a Solana developer to join the team. So if you or any friends that you believe that they'd be good additions to the team, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to get in touch with anyone who thinks they'd be a good fit for the engineering team.
Absolutely epic. And I'll go ahead and send out a tweet after our space, and we'll get people pointed in the right direction so they can go ahead and apply. Yeah, more. We need more tabs. We really do.
Yeah, we all do. I feel like everyone talks about Solana devs as they are like a unicorn.
Oh yeah. Oh, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. Before like we sign off or anything, I know we just did like a little call to action, but is there anything coming up in your guys' community? Anything else that you would like to shed some light on? Please feel free to go ahead and bring some light to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a flurry of events leading up to our DevNet launch at the end of this month. Obviously, this is our first Twitter Spaces with you guys, and we're so excited about that.
Woo!
Woo!
Love that.
And actually, on our Discord, we have a special role called Super Sanics. This is derived from Sanic the Hedgehog, which is our meme. Super Sanics is a role for active community members on our Discord and people who understand and have really learned about our products. Super Sanics will get exclusive DevNet access for first few days, and you'll be like the first ones to give us user feedback and to really try out the experience of our product. We're holding a quiz tournament tomorrow at 10 p.m. EST, which is 10 a.m. Singapore time, to do a quiz tournament about Sega. And those who make the leaderboard will be able to get this special role. So that's definitely something that we're really excited about. We're also planning a couple of very exciting announcements in the next few days. So definitely follow our Twitter and please join our Discord.
Absolutely epic. Well, to all our listeners, make sure you go check out their Discord and their Twitter. As I said, I'll be sending out a tweet after our space, but so many exciting things coming up for you guys. And yeah, just really keen to see what happens and see what you guys got going on.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having us today. This was super fun to talk about our vision, our product, and really excited to partner more with you guys in the future.
Nice. Likewise. Thanks for hopping on and sharing a bunch of stuff on Sega. Looking forward to seeing you guys go live. And also, if you guys are coming over this side of the world, we'd definitely love to catch up. Else, probably we'll see you at Crypto Bahamas. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. We'll definitely see you guys soon.
Alrighty.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining our space. Everybody have an awesome day, okay?
All right. See ya.
Bye.
All right.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.